All the best, Shaun.
It's Shaun Murphy against Zhou Yuelong.
Zhou Yuelong to break.
For a place in the round of 16 at the Northern Ireland Open. And it's Zhou to get us underway. Neil Foles is alongside me for this one. It has all the ingredients, Neil, to be a really entertaining match.
Yes, I see it that way as well. Shaun Murphy very rarely gets involved in matches that are not entertaining, whether he wins them or not so. It's usually a fairly open match. As for Zhou Yuelong, he was trailing against Dominic Dale before he got the verdict into the decider in the previous round, earlier in the week. I think Murphy generally is playing well. He started a bit stuttery in his match the other night, Zhou, and in the end the Chinese youngster, he kind of went to pieces, I thought, towards the end of that match.
Yeah, Murphy was 2-0 behind, and as you say, Zhou Yuelong was in trouble against Dominic, 3-1 behind before turning it around.
Just say the Phillips straight away, he's seeing a plant here, and if this goes in, it's well, could be an explosive start actually. If it's on, he'll plough the cue ball into the bunch. It's not the two reds below the pink, it's the two to the right there, as you can see. Sometimes you're kind of allured by these shots and you think, well, if I believe the plant is on, I'll worry about the rest of it later, basically. Of course, if you do miss it, you could do all sorts of damage, but it's a very early possible move that he could make should this plant go.
He weighed it up, he had a couple of looks and committed to it, and that was the key. He backed himself, and, well, what a result.
Didn't he play it well? I mean, yes, they lined up to the pocket, especially with the cue ball coming in at the reds from that angle, but goodness me, the cue ball was played to perfection there, and whatever he gets from this, he deserves.
Zhou feels like one of those players who's ready to make the breakthrough and become a ranking titleist. He's come close, of course. He's been a runner-up on 3 occasions, including, as mentioned, this event. And it was looking good for him when he played Mark Allen 2 years ago in the final. He led 4-1 before Allen won 8 in a row. But he's got such a strong all-round game, very fine amateur pedigree, of course. He won the World Amateur Championship in his middle teens. So he's got all the credentials. It's just a case of applying the finishing touches when he gets to another final. And who knows, maybe it could be this week. He's got happy memories of playing here.
12.
It has been a good start to the season for Murphy. Last season, by his own admission, was perhaps his worst. Even though he did win the Championship League, it rather fell away after that. But he's been a lot more consistent in early season. Of course, he made the semi-finals in Saudi Arabia, lost a tight match to Trump. And he came back strongly against Zhang in the previous round. He's been a quarter-finalist here twice before. That's his best.
Yeah, I mean, Yuelong is a good match player now, but he doesn't always perform well, you know. He's one of these surprisingly losing a qualifier when you don't see it happening. I think get him on the bigger stages, he does well. It'd be more than a match, I'd say, for Murphy today, I'm sure.
19.
Certainly capable of beating, as we've said, that he has already done here in this event.
It looked like he was heading to another home nation's title match last season. Of course, it ended up being a chastening defeat at the hands of the eventual champion, Gary Wilson, who needed 2 snookers in the decider, ended up winning it on a respotted black after Zhou had been celebrating victory prematurely, as it turned out, so that was a harsh lesson. He got another one when he was whitewashed by Neil Robertson. in the European Masters final.
Yeah, I think both of those defeats that you mentioned would have hurt him in different ways. You know, the getting to the final and getting hammered by Robertson. Sometimes you don't take the positive from getting to the final, getting beaten in that fashion. And that match where he celebrated the win, didn't he? Before Wilson got all the snookers, that must have been a slightly awkward moment for him. But you learn all the time with this game and hopefully come back stronger.
29. Set.
They did play earlier this season in the Invitational Shanghai Masters. That was a comfortable win for Murphy. 6-2 in the quarterfinals. As mentioned, all of Murphy's wins, all 5 of them have been handsome ones. But tonight is another night, and Zhou is making a promising start. The winner of this will play the winner of the match on the other table in the round of 16.
36.
Yes, it helps when you have 2 balls lined up to a pocket, and as we said and explained at the time, you know, you can almost throw your arm at the ball. But he played it delightfully.
Seven.
Just sizing up which red he should consider after this, because he's basically straightish on this and he can't really do much to change the line on this pink. Oh goodness.
Yuelong, 37.
Well, he looked at it for a long time and didn't quite know how to go about it, because like I say, he was quite straight on the pink.
Disappointing way for Zhou to see that break end. He was going nicely after the spectacular initial plant. Oh, there's a rarity. Murphy missing a relatively routine red with the rest. Overcutting it by quite a margin. So Zhou doesn't have to dwell on that pink now. Straight back at the table with a further chance. Already 37 in front. Wow, it's catching.
Yeah. 3 shots in a row that have been missed that were, you'd expect them to pop 9 out of 10, probably more like 49 out of 50.
One. 8. Nine.
Murphy's had plenty of home nation success. One of the more complete performances we've seen in a final at the Welsh Open, when he demolished the now world champion Kyren Wilson for the loss of only 1 frame. And was also runner-up to Mark Allen at the Scottish Open 6 years ago. And of course to Rob Milkins at the Welsh season before last. But he hasn't settled yet this evening.
9.
That's another one he would have expected to get. So things a bit edgy in this opening frame now.
One.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the first frame of a match can actually dictate the tone of the rest of it. I don't think he's actually on the black to pot it there. Even a longer match, I still think about that last year's World Championship final with Luca Brissell beating Mark Selby. You know, he won the first frame in about 6 or 7 minutes in that final and attacked Selby over 2 days. So it can happen in long matches, but if you don't start well, it can sort of set a very worrying tone, and both players have now already missed more balls than they might usually. Of course, Luca Brissell is back in action in the morning, isn't he? And that, I mean, according to all his social media, he did disappear back to Spain between matches. He played on Sunday, he only just made it
Yuelong 1.
to the venue because he was flying in from Spain, which is not where he lives, but that's where he was. And then, for some reason, he went back there between matches. But he's on at 10, so he must have come back today. It seems a lot of effort to go back and forward for the sake of just not being at the venue for a day, doesn't it? There you are. We'll see how he plays in the morning.
Came into this tournament, Brissell, 60th, 6-0 in the provisional end of season rankings. Oh, that's brilliant cueing. That's more like it from Murphy, albeit the cue ball isn't great. And of course that is because he'll lose the 500,000 points he won for winning the world title a couple of seasons ago at the end of this campaign.
You'll be able to see that on Discovery Plus in the morning. Fully 8s will be overseeing that match. I have a theory about Brissell, which we won't go into too much because we're watching a different match here, but I feel that he might come good in the UK Championship. He'll probably need to, but of course he has been a former finalist there. Anyway, Murphy on a colour.
Brown ball. Shaun Murphy 1.
Trying to float another one in from long range, not this time for Murphy, but only 28 in it with 59 still left, both players having had opportunities. Perhaps given Zhou's poor overall record against Murphy, it's more important for him to make a better start this evening, build a bit of belief.
It's a good pot, that.
1.
He's sort of carving out a little lead in the frame, isn't he, despite all the things that have not quite gone to plan. Now, I think the bottom red on the right will go to the left corner, but with topspin, he'd have to get over to that right side, and it mightn't be easy to do that. Trace of right-hand side. That's what he's tried. That's a good shot. That's a better shot than it might seem. He executed it nicely. Trace of right-hand side, just to bring it down that channel. Now, on the basis of a couple of good shots, he must now get this frame 1, because he's made most of the running.
Twelve. 13.
No doubt about the standout result for Zhou in what has been overall a disappointing start to this season. 6-0
18.
whitewash of the world champion Kyren Wilson on his way to that quarter-final in Shanghai where he lost to Murphy.
19.
Not much else to write home about, though, and he's not qualified for the upcoming international championship. Lost a decider there to Michael Holt.
Yeah, that's a big event, isn't it? And because it has been going for a while now. I think things might have changed in Chinese snooker events, but that was always the Chinese equivalent of the Masters.
24.
Anyway, the frame's 1. Murphy will concede and we'll move on to frame 2.
Foul. Yuelong 24. Shaun Murphy 4. Free ball.
And
Frame
Murphy
conceded. Frame
has
Yuelong.
conceded the frame, just too many points to make up there. So a few errors on both sides, but Zhou Yuelong will be grateful to get the opening frame on the board. Shaun Murphy, twice a quarter-finalist in this event, had a couple of chances in the opening frame. Of course, he was 2-0 behind in his first match to Zhang Jun and turned it around with 4 in a row. But playing a much more experienced opponent with a significantly weightier CV this evening, so Murphy will be very keen to get involved quickly tonight.
It's another good start to a frame with a pop to that right corner, albeit not a plant this time, but you know, relatively short matches, best of 7, although we have come to terms with them more. I think when we first saw best of 7, everyone threw their hands up in the air and said that it's a too short a match, but it's become almost a standard distance now. Best of 9s used to be, but you get through the frames without a break. I think that's the sometimes the deciding factor. You've got no
4.
no way to go back and speak to someone at the mid-session interval, because there isn't one, basically. So something of a sprint. Murphy keeps leaving Zhou Yuelong chances. He'll be way into the distance.
Eleven. 12. $19.
A little flick there has worked out well for the red to middle. Never been in the top 16. He's agonising. He's been 17 in the world. And there were a few cut-offs over the last 2 or 3 years that he missed for events. World Grand Prix and 1 or 2 others that he just missed out on. And you know, the difference between being 17 and 16 means you're not
27.
not maybe got a shot at the Masters, depending on when you're in, or the World Championship qualifiers, or in the main draw, all these things. Of course, the UK now figures in that with the new look way of playing it, with 16 seeds through in York. So he's never been involved in any of that.
Currently 59 on the one-year list, which is a
Okay.
measure of the disappointing nature of the start to this season. This is the 7th ranking event of the campaign.
Yeah, of course, the Shanghai win over Karen Wilson. Shanghai is prestigious, but not ranking. Tell you, I thought that would go in off the jaw.
28.
We haven't seen like a absolute run of centuries this week, and this might explain why, because I must say I felt that would drop.
Foul.
Well, it has now,
Yuelong,
unfortunately for
7.
Murphy.
It's a bad shot though, isn't it? How's he just knocked the red in there? Goodness me. I mean, really, for such a top player, it's a sloppy shot. I mean, it may stop like a 30-minute stalemate where all the reds go over the black, I admit, which is no one particularly wants, but that shot on its own was not great.
Murphy, in contrast, is 7th on the one-year list, so that shows the consistency he's put together. Of course, making the semis in Saudi Arabia was a big help. But he's not settled this evening at all, as yet.
But that was a bit like the first match, wasn't it? Where, as you said earlier, he went 2-0 down. He won it because he's a class player, but partly to his good play and Zhang Jun not being able to finish the job.
Foul.
Giving away a few points here.
Yuelong, 4.
I mean, that's obviously a shot where I think if you leave the cue ball in the corner of the table, it can work out well because your opponent is forced into playing off the bunch. But we need, instead of staying on the corner.
So another plant.
1.
Yeah, and he looked at this one as well, so he's finding all the sets, 2-ball combos, or whatever you want to call them. He'll be storing those up, thinking, how come there's always a plant that I'm leaving on? I don't think he's rolling behind this. Well, I can see what he's played it
Zhou Yuelong,
like that
1.
for, because clearly he blocks the pocket. It felt like an eternity from the time he hit it to the time it either was going to go in or stay with the pocket. It's another really bad shot for Murphy. And that is really poor. I mean, he's such a top player, but from a nothing situation, he's given him a chance again. Well, I mean, he'll only play the blue if he can get behind a red, because clearly that green has got the potential to just block the pocket for an eternity. So he might have just popped the green and be done with it.
Well, at first glance, that appears to have gone wrong, and that's really frustrating for Zhou Yuelong. He would have been eyeing a 2-0 lead at this visit.
It's one of those, isn't it? I mean, he got the ball over the pocket. As I said, he didn't want to play the green, but he had to move it. So there's a little bit of hit and hope about it. There is a plant to middle, but that he's not what he's going to play. The reds are too far apart. I think if I was Zhou Yuelong, I would try and just keep things tight. Murphy is just leaking chances. So I'll keep ball in behind the yellow somewhere here. Let's see what Murphy's got to offer. But that's a good safety shot in the end. You know, that is the second prize of all that.
A view from the gods of this excellent arena here at the Waterfront Hall. The players are united in their view that this is one of the best places to play on the tour. Of course, a city steeped in history in terms of this sport, and Murphy at the moment can't keep anything on the table that he wants to.
Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble there. It's a bit like the old disappearing shot, isn't it, that you used to see in the trick shots.
Well, he'll be hoping to get this very ragged start out of his system early, as he was able to do in the first round against Zhang. But equally, Zhou will be thinking, I've got to win this frame, given the way Murphy started very scratchily. I've got to take advantage while the going's good. Already 48 in front. Quite a few of those points donated by Murphy. Clearly that wasn't easy, although Murphy, when he's playing well, is very good from distance, but his pot success at the moment is at 40%. He's missed 6 of his attempted pots so far this evening. Zhou has missed 5, but of course he's potted a lot more, and he's got a great chance to double his lead in this frame.
Well, if he waits long enough, the chance is going to come, and there was another one. It's been raining down on him, and you know, he hasn't taken them straight away, but ultimately he's bossed a frame and a half. And again, that bottom right-hand red goes to the left corner, a bit like the first frame. It's on a different angle on the green. Obviously, the left-hand red from up there also is available. And moving this one brings the two below it to the right in play. He needs to win this frame now. Nothing else will do from here.
5.
The reds all stacked up to this pocket. So it looks all the world 2-0 Zhou Yuelong. Murphy would have been favoured for this match, but he hasn't turned up yet.
12. 13.
It's very good of Shaun Murphy to lend his cue to Nopon Sankam, who used it to defeat Zhou Nu earlier. But the way Murphy's playing, you might think, well, I'll let you have the cue, because he's got others in his collection, hasn't he? I'm sure he'll come back strongly. He's a world-class player.
21. 28. 29.
Zhou did miss a black off its spot much earlier in the frame, just overcut it a smidgen into the left corner, but
36.
Shaun Murphy's mistakes have continued to flow. So Zhou
37.
with an ideal opportunity now to improve his record, get his second win over Murphy in this the 7th meeting. Shaun Murphy's highest break so far, just 9.
44.
He has had chances.
45.
It can be difficult sitting in your chair, you know, when you're not playing well. And really played a good shot this evening, and you're kind of wondering what's going wrong. And then it's not as if you can snip onto a practice table. He knows what
50.
can be turned around.
52.
But he'll have to start doing something about it. He's only missed 6 pots. He's out of the 10 attempted pots, Shaun Murphy, he's only knocked in 4.
55. 59. 64. 7.
Zhou's taken these very nicely. Murphy not troubling the scorers in this frame.
70.
And a clearance of 77 from the former Northern Ireland Open runner-up, but Zhou Yuelong 2 frames up. A great start for Zhou Yuelong in his bid to get only his second victory over Shaun Murphy in 7 attempts. Murphy at the moment hasn't settled at all, didn't pot a ball, didn't score a point in frame 2. Zhou with a clearance of 77 to lead by 2 frames to 0. 2 more required for a meeting with either Stuart Bingham or Mark Davis. They're playing next door. Bingham has taken the opening frame on Discovery Plus. And indeed, he's just taken the second as well with a break of 62, I should say. Winning the frame 63-11. So a great start for Bingham.
Yeah, they're just not going in. I would always fancy him for that sort of range. One of the best in the world, actually, at long distance. But we just reminded every now and then what a difficult game snooker is, despite how easy certain players, including Murphy, often make it look.
Bit of a distraction for Murphy, but perhaps that belies the fact that at the moment he's just not engaged in this match. When you're flowing and the balls are flying in the back of the pockets, you can be impervious to any outside noise or distraction, but at the moment Murphy isn't really involved in this contest. Still time for it to change, of course, but it's going to have to change pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'll say one thing about Murphy. I've always admired his sort of demeanour at the table, his body language, his sort of forward striding, positive approach, but I'm not feeling it tonight. For once, he looks a little bit as if he has no concentration out there. You know what I mean? He strides around the table as if he owns the place. Tonight, I'm not seeing it. Not yet. Didn't like something in the audience there, that some minor distraction. Don't know what happened.
Yes, touching, yes.
The other thing that you'll never see Murphy do, even if he is struggling, is throw in the towel mentally. He'll give it everything. Always does. So Zhou's going to have to earn this victory, even though he's made a strong start. Clearly is the better player at the moment. Still a long way off thinking about the next round.
He's got touching ball, so he's playing the cue ball twice across. I don't think he's going for this red or anything. Yeah. He's just got to keep Murphy at arm's length, where possible. Keep him in the long grass down that end of the table. He's hit this pacily, but it's okay. Yeah, not easy safety shots those, but you're worried about hitting the red too thick because you can get the double kiss. Barely a shot has gone right. Yet.
6.
Now, the next red, it's a question of what kind of cannon he gets on the bunch of reds here. I mean, he looked at the red below the black spot, but that's quite a difficult pot. This is an easier pot, but position, it's not a certainty. So many reds that could get in the way of not finishing on the black. If he rolls it, he might get a couple of cannons and just has a shot at the black. It's an important shot, this, because it could be a very major way of getting in amongst them in a big way. Yeah, it's amazing, this game, isn't it? You can see lots of obstacles in your way, and he's found one. Now he wishes he'd hit it hard and just topped through and taken the sort of sledgehammer to the situation. I'll tell you what, he's buried, isn't he, on these? I don't know if he can even get through to a bulk colour, can he? Maybe there's a tiniest gap. I would hate him to sort of hit 2 reds on the way through. We've got to replace all of this.
Yellow ball.
Yeah, no problem. Be annoyed, though. Annoyed that he didn't take the second option. Trying to get through the bunch of reds there. And the flip side, Murphy, who's not potted anything of any note yet, has got a long red that he probably doesn't fancy as much as he would do if he was in stroke. This is very revealing, isn't it? Not taking that on, and the way he's playing, he's about 3 times harder, quite honestly. He's got no confidence. That's pretty apparent, what we've watched so far.
Two from 8 from long range tonight, Murphy. 4 from 12 in all. And only 14 points to show for his efforts. And he has left an opportunity of sorts for Zhou if he can knock this red in.
One.
Nice rest shot. Bit more angle on the green than he would have hoped for here. But now he's just gifted Murphy something. Now he's got to get in and start to stamp a bit of authority on this match while it's not too late, because Zhou Yuelong just take his foot off the gas a little bit. Sometimes when your opponent is struggling like that, you can't help but be dragged down. Murphy's got to pounce here.
One.
The miss with the rest right at the start of this match after Zhou had led him in the opening frame. Rather set the tone for Murphy so far. Normally so reliable with it. Certainly among the best in the world but devoid of confidence at the moment, based on what we've seen so far tonight. But of course that could change very quickly, and who knows, that green that Zhou Yuelong has just missed might yet prove to be a very significant moment come the end of this match. We'll see.
$16. 17.
'Nice piece of cueing there, if you're not overly confident.
24.
He's the kind of player, you know, when he does hit form, he can turn a match around very quickly.
25.
And he might be going into the bunch off of the blue here, and this is where you just need a little bit of luck to go your way and get frames won with a sort of industrious sort of shot like this. Going to play it. Don't think he's had the luck. It's very unfortunate not to be on the ball if that's the case.
That expression suggesting Murphy's thinking something along the lines of, you know, that sums my night out so far. But he's not missed, that's the key. No position, but still in the frame, of course.
John Murphy, 30.
Didn't do anything wrong there, Murphy. You hit the reds well, just didn't get the luck that you always need when going into the bunch. Murphy weighs up his options. Stuart Bingham is hoping to pinch frame 3 against Mark Davis. It's come down to the last 4 colours. He's 2-0 up. Winner of that plays the winner of this match on table 1 in the last 16. And that applause is for Bingham potting pink and black for a 3-0 lead over Mark Davis.
It's quite a good shot there. I wonder if the red on the pink spot, if you got the thin enough angle to attempt to pot it, it would be it'd miss the other red, so it's almost a shot to nothing, this. There's value to be had if it does go in. Into the left corner. Cue ball coming to a fairly safe area, but again, we'll see how Murphy fancies this one, because he cannot refuse this red. To the left corner here, it's virtually straight.
A big shot for Murphy in this match. If it goes in, a chance to halve the deficit. That's now 2 out of 9 from long range.
It's the long game that sorts any player out. And Murphy's, as I said, he cues those in for fun, but I knew he wouldn't fancy it because he has been knocking them in. There was a big sigh, and it was not made any better that he's actually left the red somehow. Now the flip side is that Yuelong's missed a couple himself, and now he really has to strike while his opponent is down, because he could almost get this match won if he could take advantage of this chance, going to a 3-0 lead. But I'm afraid
Yuelong, 1.
whatever Murphy's got is catching.
He knew from the moment he hit that it was wide. And that's another big moment in this frame. Zhou's already missed a green. He should have potted. Got a second chance and hasn't been able to take it. So now Murphy will be really steeling himself to try and get this frame won from here. 21 in front. Red's open. He should do.
One.
I must say that while he's got a few choices here, being behind the blue or pink would be the prime place. Again, he's not quite where he wants to be. That's more like it. That's a good rest shot.
6. Well,
Another shake of the head from Murphy as the door is closed rather loudly. But once again, I think it just plays into the general sense tonight that Murphy's not quite on it. Urgently needs a frame to feel part of this, and he's not going to get a better chance than this, surely, to make it happen. Lead is 41, so he's going to need one more red.
21.
Yeah, and now I think maybe his evening can get started belatedly. Because he's been better. It was a good chance, but he's taken them quite well. And like you say, this is the one to leave Zhou Yuelong leading snookers, and he won't be very comfortable sitting in his chair either, because he's had 2 or 3 good leads in this frame to extend his lead, which he hasn't got anywhere near taking.
$35.
Zhou Yuelong had a chance, Mr. Black into the right corner, and Murphy has finally got something together. Of course, he was 2-0 behind in his first round, won 4 in a row. He's looked out of sorts as we see that black again, and the minute he hit it, he knew it was wide.
44.
But this should make Murphy feel a good deal better. And the form is there. He's proved that already this season. He's been very consistent. Got himself into the top 8 on the 1-year list.
$50. A Murphy, 50 and frame.
Zhou Yuelong concedes a half-century from Shaun Murphy. And he's part of the match now. Halves the deficit. Zhou leads 2-1. Stuart Bingham is back from his bathroom break, and Shaun Murphy is back in contention, having taken frame 3 with a break of 50. 2-1, he trails. First to 4 to play either Bingham or Mark Davis, who's got a lot to do next door, 3-0 behind. Not the best break off from Murphy. It remains to be seen to what extent not winning that third frame, and he had a couple of good chances. Zhou Yuelong will throw him off track. He's not got a great record against Murphy, as we know. He's lost 5 out of 6, and all of those 5 have been heavy defeats, really. But that's a good way to get back on track. A good long red.
Yeah, it might not be a great kiss. It depends if he decides in the end to take the black on. Comes around 2 cushions, hit the underside of that red. And you see it. It's kind of left him in the middle of 2 shots, either blue or black. Black is difficult. I'm not saying it's easy, but I wondered if he would even think about it, which he did take a look at it, and now he's gone off it. Might he even come back to it? not too bad. He's not right behind the red.
6.
Play for the gap. Oh, beautiful shot.
7.
Beautiful shot. There was a little window through the reds, if you like, and he's hit it. So this is what he was hoping for, to disappoint with the previous frame. Could be put to one side if he makes something of this. So it's an odd situation at snooker. I've seen it myself, where you know, you go in fired up for a match, all of a sudden your opponent does not seem able to pot the ball, and it kind of rubs off on you. And in that third frame, he felt that Yuelong was almost waiting for Murphy to start to play better. Now he has. Maybe he'll find his own game back again. Psychology of snooker. Yeah. The problem is the great champions are just ruthless when their opponents struggle.
15.
Think of Steve Davis and Stephen Hendry. If their opponent was struggling, they would absolutely bury them. Unfortunately, not everyone can be like that.
He did for a while relocate to the north of England in Darlington, where there's an excellent facility, the Q House Academy, which he said helped him focus. He has since moved back to Sheffield.
Yeah, I mean,
22.
without putting too fine a point on it, you know, he got away from a situation which we saw a few players fall foul of the rules of the game, and he didn't have anything to do with any of that, so he made a clean break. You have to admire him for that.
23. Eight.
That's another well-played shot. Now, the reds aren't really very well placed from the black to go into them. I mean, they have to hit the bottom red full on, because if he does play the bunch, it's so easy to glance off them and end up at the wrong end of the table. Oh, goodness, he's played that well, though. He really has played it well. It's so easy for that to go wrong. I mean, this is a terrific split for a bad pack. You've got to get the spider out for the next red, but I still say he's done very well.
And that's a good shot as well. It's never fun using the spider, bridging over other balls. You're striking down from quite a height on the cue ball, but he negotiated it well. So this has been a really good response thus far from Zhou Yuelong to losing the previous frame. I mean, Mr. Black, he's created this chance for himself, and now it's key that he converts it, reassumes complete control of this match.
.44.
That is not great positionally, however. More work to be done here.
Yeah, I mean, he may need... Another good shot to sort of get himself back on track here. Now this time he's used the spider with the extension on it. So this is worse than the last spider shot you played. Well, a little flick on the black helps. He's redeemed himself there.
Forty-five. $52.
He had that remarkable
53.
result at the World Championship in qualifying last season when he beat James Cahill, who of course defeated Ronnie O'Sullivan at the Crucible when he was an amateur, 10-0. He then lost to Jack Jones in the final qualifying round, but of course that result was put into perspective by what Jones went on to achieve, making it to the final itself. So when he does hit form, as he proved against Karen Wilson this season in Shanghai, he is a handful for anyone. And this has been a really good break so far. He's still got a bit to do to convert it into a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, and I think there's a red that goes to middle, which may not have been possible had the pink been able to go either on its own spot or below. But it went up onto the yellow, so the red in the middle of these is on. Or there might even be a plant there that he's looking at. He likes a plant. He's already knocked a couple in tonight already.
Zhou Yuelong, 59.
It was a very good break, Philip's right, but he hasn't put the frame away yet, and he should have done actually.
The only good news is he's pushed a red to the side cushion. The red he's just missed, in fact, has landed in a relatively safe spot, so that may yet prove significant.
Yeah, but these are the possible turning points in any match, aren't they? A frame like this, if Murphy could get it back to 2-2 somehow, then all of a sudden you think that he'd turned the game around, even though the scores would still be level. He's playing the left-hand red of the 4 here. It was a shot to nothing. Back down to the bulk. That's a good shot. And what do you do here? You can roll up behind the green, put a ball safe, or play some kind of a snooker behind a bulk colour. In an ideal world, you'd put a ball safe and get the snooker.
Brown ball.
That's kind of what he's tried, although I'm sure he's covered all the reds. The brown going where it is definitely in his interests, with a 60-point lead.
75 left for Murphy.
Well, if he could knock a red or two onto a cushion, that would also help his scores. That's what he's going to attempt here, but not quite. I just feel there's a little bit of anxiety from Zhou Yuelong. He knows that this frame is very much in his favour, but it's not won yet, and it probably should have been. Oh, now, there's a way back into this frame. It's a smashing pot, it really is. He's still got enough points if he wants to wait one and play the snooker himself. I mean, he can afford to do that with 5 reds left and 67 still on. So it might be that that's a good move. 5 reds that are not easy to lay up to. It's a cracking red. Obviously, one thing that you can say is Zhou Yuelong is thankful now that he's put the brown where it is. Because at times like this, you really need balls close to cushions. I don't think there's any way you can play this in a sort of a subtle way where you won't leave one. I think it's important to hit a red sooner rather than later, not keep giving away 4, 8, 12, 16 points and something like that. And I just hope to get lucky. I don't think there's any real strategy you can have here. I think he's going to just whack it. Well, it's gone badly, but I mean, what else could he do?
And it was a moment of inspiration from Murphy. A fantastic long-range cut-back red that set up this opportunity to lay that very awkward snooker. What a frame this would be to win.
Yeah, I mean, the match is at a very interesting point here. This is where Murphy really can claw his way back into it. It's a great chance, but there's one or two pitfalls along the way.
All over on table 2, and an emphatic win for the 2015 world champion Stuart Bingham, who's taken out Mark Davis. A repeat, as we mentioned, of the 2018 English Open final there. But a good deal more one-sided than that match was. 4-0 to Bingham. So he'll play the winner of this. Of course, it was Murphy that Bingham beat to win his Crucible crown.
7.
Having been 8-4 down at one stage on the first day of that final.
Yeah, I don't know if he did play. Maybe he tried to get the brown in play there, but he's got to be a bit careful playing a shot like that because he can't afford not to be on a colour. And as it happens, he's now perfectly behind the blue. It looked as if he was disappointed not to shift the brown. At the moment, I think he needs to take reds and high-value colours and worry about the brown later. This is no gimme, this black. He's got to roll it in. The yellow, which he put there playing the snooker behind the pink earlier, now is kind of in the way of the 2 reds to the right corner, so he's got enough to think about. And now what?
21.
Got a red that pots, but again, getting onto a colour's not simple. 38, the difference, so he can take 2 red blues. That's a good shot. That is a good shot.
And the brown that Zhou Yuelong pushed safe earlier in this frame now becomes of a more significant.
Now, I wonder if he'd consider here, Philip, just playing to pot this, and if he can get the brown out, that would be the dream shot. He's not playing it. Red close to the pocket, it would be one way of completely turning this frame around.
27.
Could take the pink or the blue. And in doing so, still be able to win.
28.
Nervous moments for Zhou, for sure. He constructed a really nice break of 59. Those 2 shots with the spider were highlights. But then he missed a plant into the left centre. And then Murphy came up with that brilliant long red, which allowed him to lay the snooker and launch this
34.
counter-attack.
Trying to move it here. That's a good effort, you know. That is a really good effort.
36.
If he'd have chipped that over the left middle, it would have been the best shot I've seen all week. Very close to happening. This was the plant, which looked on, but he didn't hit the 2 reds in line. There is the bump of the middle pocket in the way here. You bet.
39.
And now there's no back double either because the blue's in the way. It's amazing, this game. The things that get in your way sometimes. You know, he might have been able to just flip that back into the opposite middle, but in hitting the blue, that's not an option either. Break's over.
Shaun Murphy, 39.
A very good contribution nonetheless from Shaun Murphy. Try as he might, he couldn't dislodge that brown. Nevertheless, he's got Zhou Yuelong in trouble here. He is snookered by the black.
Yeah, I mean, as it stands, he's favourite for the frame, Murphy, isn't he? Because he's got him in this snooker, which is no fun. And even if he does hit it, I mean, he could easily stick this.
Barnabas. Shaun
Well,
Murphy,
that'll be
4.
going back straight away.
Valentina Velichkova is the referee. Murphy coming round to have a look at the potting angle. It's thin, but it's potable.
Yeah, I mean, could he play this slowly as possible, and kind of hold off 2 cushions? Or is he going to go all around the table? He's gone the slow way. It's a superb shot. Superb shot there from Murphy.
Well, he's really come to life in this frame. Shaun Murphy's struggled a bit tonight. But that moment of brilliance, the long red,
9.
which at the time earned him just the 1 point, but it laid the snooker that changed the course of this frame. And perhaps the match.
15.
What a steal this is. It is a huge frame that he's snatched from Zhou Yuelong.
He's a tremendous competitor, Murphy, as well as being a great player. And look at what it means to him as well. A little tap of the table, fist clenched. A defiant Murphy levels it at 2-all.
I didn't say a question.
So from 2-0 behind, Shaun Murphy has levelled it up. It's now a best of 3. Of course, he was 2-0 behind against Zhou and won 4 on the spin. And I guess you now have to make him the favourite from here. He's won 5 out of 6 against Zhou, and he has all the momentum after that brilliant frame he's just played. Well, it was a chance to get in. He's crashed into the bunch, though. What's the damage? Just undercut the red.
Well, I mean, there's a red on, but I don't know how on earth he's supposed to get to it. That red to the right corner, I think you have to put up some scaffolding, I think, to be able to reach that. So 3 reds in line with the cue ball behind it. So even though that's a very rare occurrence, I think a red that goes to the right corner, but it's virtually impossible to get to it. Anyway.
Long rest.
Long rest.
Well, he's well used to using the long stuff. Knocked in a couple, as mentioned, with the spider in the previous frame on his way to that 59 break, which ended when he missed the plant. Had that plant gone in, and I think it was only the pace that kept it out, it would have been a different story. But what a comeback it was from Murphy.
Interesting shot here Murphy's got, because he can't retreat to the bulkhead with the red up there, so what does he play underneath the black cushion? Unless he can dig down and get to the bottom of the cue ball, but it looks buried on the cushion to me. He'd be raising the butt of the cue quite a lot if he can possibly get something on it. Where he's putting the cue there might be a place he can leave the cue ball, but even then, maybe something that goes. Straight away when he played the shot Zhou Yuelong, it immediately appeared that Murphy had a very difficult decision to make on this shot. So he's left a red to the left corner. Okay. Will Zhou Yuelong be able to refuse it? No, he's taking it on.
Well, how do you fancy this when you've just had fourth frame stolen from your grasp at the last. Bags of pressure on it.
Yeah, Murphy did well. I mean, he left the ball on. He knew that he'd have to hit it with a bit of pace because he had to get the cue ball out of that area. And at the moment, he is really under pressure, it seems.
One. Five. Six. Twelve. Thirteen.
Yeah, he really would like to be straighter on this. Don't know what's happening. There's a bit of
Settle
movement
down
in
as
here.
quickly as possible, please.
His concentration's not been great tonight. People are just coming back in to watch the match, and they're not, it seems, being stopped from doing so by anybody, and it's catching the player's eye line. Well, the match is being turned on its head from 2-0 down. He could barely pot a ball, Murphy.
19.
That is now a thing of the past.
Last season was a bit of a write-off after he did win the Championship League, a ranking tournament right at the start of the season, but only one round of 16 thereafter in the whole of the campaign for Murphy. And that after he'd had a very profitable season previously, playing some quite outstanding snooker, perhaps as good as anything he's produced
26.
in his entire career, when he won both the Players and the Tour Championships and was runner-up at the Welsh to Milkins.
27.
Determined to put things right this season, and so far so good. Some encouraging results. And if he can turn this around and emerge with the win tonight, he'll be particularly
34.
pleased, because it was looking unlikely after 2 frames.
35. Forty-two. 43. 49.
Still got a little bit of work to do. The Reds just fairly closely grouped to the left of the pink there. Which makes you think there aren't that
50.
many ways of getting on one. I think he played behind that red. Instead, he's
57.
just crashed into it. I was hoping that he'd be able to pop the red that he kissed into the right corner. And we saw what happened in the previous frame where Zhou Yuelong was in a very similar position to this. "16-0 up in the last frame, didn't win it, didn't lead 3-1 when it seemed for all the world he would be. Terrific recovery shot.
Never in doubt, was it? Right in the middle. It's just a different Murphy now. He's got the bit between his teeth. I think he would have been annoyed with himself at the way he played at the start of the evening, but that moment of magic, the long red, there's another one right in the middle
65.
that set up the snooker in the previous frame. Seemed to have been the catalyst for Murphy to recapture some of his best form.
Just needs a colour with this. Yeah, that's great.
66.
And, it's almost, the old Shaun Murphy has come back. There was almost an imposter out there for 2 frames. I mean, not so much he wasn't playing well, because anyone can play poorly. It's just that he didn't even look like he had any real confidence. His concentration was no good. It's all
71.
back.
Zhou committed himself to taking on that very tricky red, knowing if he missed he was leaving
72.
Murphy this chance, and he did miss, and Murphy's taken it. And how quickly the balance of a match can change, particularly in these best of 7. Zhou was completely on top at 2-0 and looking like 3-1. And now he's getting that sinking feeling again at the hands of Murphy, which he suffered on 5 previous occasions. This is the red.
77.
It's a tough shot, isn't it? Yeah, and Murphy kind of happily left him it. I think Murphy, if he could have played a different shot, he would have done, but that was the best he could do, leave him an awkward red. Paid dividends, that shot selection.
He's annoyed to miss that one, but it doesn't really matter. A break of 77, easily Murphy's highest of the evening. He's turned this match around from 2-0 down to lead 3-2. 2 frames, now it's plain sailing. 3-2, 1 away from a place in the round of 16 and a meeting with his old mate Stuart Bingham.
Well, there's no question the pockets are not particularly generous this week, which, you know, you've got to factor into a lot of things. Some players would prefer it that way, you know, that they're not just going in off the jaws. It becomes a, in a way, a more skillful game. That might have gone in on different tables in different parts of the world. Now, can Shaun Murphy turn it completely around? He's got himself into a winning position from nothing really at 2-0 down, but can he now just breeze on and win 4-2? And if he does, it'll be that frame before last, which was the key. The plant to middle that Zhou Yuelong missed, and everything's gone against him since then, and everything's gone with Murphy.
It all started with that fantastic long red from long range, and he'd not been able to buy a pot from distance pretty much all evening up until then, but just gave him the chance to take control of the table, and he's not looked back since.
wasn't on commentary for his previous match against Zhang, but I think he might have been Philip. But either way, he's kind of taking a fairly similar profile, although Zhang went completely to pieces. I thought at the end he had chance after chance in the frame
15.
which saw Murphy get over the line.
Yeah, 2-0 behind in that one. He did make an excellent century, Murphy, on his way to 4 straight frames, but he was given some help for sure. If anything, he struggled more tonight in the first 2 than he did the other night, but he certainly picked his game up dramatically, like the great champion he is. There's a lot of great comebacks on Murphy's CV, actually, in the biggest tournaments in the game. I remember he was 4 down with 5 to play against Carter at the UK. He was 10-4 down, wasn't he, in that remarkable semi-final at the Crucible with
23.
Kyron Wilson. Remember that wonderful black that he thumped him from distance into the yellow pocket, which turned the match around. Big celebration from him.
Now a chance to get the reds open here. Oh, that's a wonderful split. That is a wonderful split. The clue is always, for me, is you see what the cue ball does. It doesn't move from the centre of the table. It means he's really gone into the pink full on. I mean, you will not see a better shot played into the bunch all week than that.
Things have got away from Zhou Yuelong pretty quickly this evening. Now relying on Murphy to miss, and that's looking increasingly unlikely. Well, he's queuing now. First couple of frames, he'd only made 5 pots and have missed
36.
more than he'd made. Now, hang on. That's not great. Horribly hampered.
He was hampered the previous time. This time it's even worse. How has that got there is what he mouthed under his breath. Anywhere but there, you feel the match is over because you don't think he's about to miss. But with the queuing he's got on the black, well, it's really so... It's almost an argument to take the blue on, you know. No one's saying it's an easy shot, but the black's horrible.
Blue ball.
Wow, he's playing it. It's a massive shot, this. Oh, my goodness, what a shot. Well, that's a combination of a number of things which do not make Zhou Yuelong feel any good. One is
42.
technique, another one is temperament, because he put away the disappointment of the previous shot and he's absolutely creamed that one in. Fantastic.
He wouldn't have backed himself to get that in the first couple of frames, but the mindset now of Murphy is completely transformed, and that was right in the middle of the pocket. Fantastic shot. Zhou may have thought he'd won a reprieve before that blue flew into the pocket.
Yuelong.
And yet further evidence that even in these short matches, the shifts of momentum can be violent.
57. 58.
It's been a terrific effort, though. The confidence he built up from taking the frame to level at 2-all from nowhere. And since then, he hasn't really looked back. It's not how you start, it's
65.
how you finish, they say. Never truer than in this match.
66.
And now on the cusp of victory. He only needs this black. Zhou will need snookers. He'll take a lot from this Murphy, rather more than if he'd strode to an easy win, which he's had quite a few of against Zhou Yuelong. Tonight has been anything but that. But the way he's managed to dig deep and find something from somewhere has been so impressive. Night and day from the first two frames.
$81.
And now looking to finish with a flourish and a century break. He's already made 24
82.
this season, only 32 in the whole of last. There's a lot of snooker still to come in this campaign. And for Zhou Yuelong,
89.
well, I'm sure there must be a sense of shock as much as anything that this match has been wrestled away from him in pretty quick time from a position of strength.
Yeah, he had his chances, though, didn't he? Yeah, he should have won that frame to go through one up long before it ever come down to the comeback, really.
97.
And he knows it. He just faltered a bit from the front. And he's been
Okay.
buried since then, because it's what great players do. They see pick up the signs, you know, and he's done that. So, fantastic century. Great way to finish. Whether he'll make any more after that cannon is another thing, but he will be pleased, and it might just make up with the audience. Once or twice he looked a little distracted, but he'll be giving them a big wave and a big nod of appreciation at the end of this.
103.
Century number 681 for Shaun Murphy to complete the comeback, and what a turnaround it was from being completely out of sorts to on song in pretty spectacular fashion. He's done for Zhou Yuelong with 4 consecutive frames. He's into the last 16, 4-2.